A listener production.
Hi, Natarsha Belling with you and welcome to the afternoon edition of The Briefing. Coming up in our deep dive, Prince Harry has given emotional testimony in a UK court as part of his lawsuit against a major UK publisher. He alleges they unlawfully hacked phones and bugged cars, allegations the publisher denies. Close to tears, Harry today told the court, quote, "They continue to come after me and they have made my wife's life an absolute misery." We'll unpack this latest development in Harry's ongoing war with the media and what it means for the future. Those details in just a moment. But first, let's check the afternoon headlines this Thursday, the 22nd of January. Speculation is rife once again that Sussan Lee's days as Liberal leader are numbered after the coalition formally split again. The Nationals walked away from the Liberals for the second time since last year's federal election. Nationals leader David Littleproud blaming Sussan Lee for the latest split because she accepted the resignation of 3 National senators who broke ranks over Labor's hate crime laws.
I gave her an opportunity yesterday after we had a party room meeting when she ignored the letter that I sent with those 3 resignations, that this would be the consequence that we are going down, that we would all resign and that you would then see an untenable position. Had that conversation, she came back with a set of words last night that I put to the party room. They still would not move on reinstating those 3 senators immediately. And so I rang her about half an hour ago and told her that the party room's decision was final, that unless those 3 were reinstated immediately, then she had forced the coalition into an untenable position.
Miss Lee has not responded directly, saying today should focus on the National Day of Mourning for the victims and survivors of the Bondi terror attack. A number of people are missing, including a child, after a major landslide in New Zealand. The slip crushing camper vans, tents and a shower block at a popular camping ground on the North Island. It's not yet known exactly how many people are missing, with emergency services saying the shower and toilet area are the main focus of the ongoing search. Some good news on the jobs front, but not such good news for the chance of a cut in interest rates. Australia's unemployment rate dropped from 4.3% to 4.1% in December, boosted by 65,000 new jobs, according to the Australian Bureau of Statistics. The stronger than expected jobs data has shifted market expectations ahead of a cut in rates next month. Inflation data will be released next week, another key indicator for what the Reserve Bank may do when it meets on the 3rd of February. And the lead singer of Australian rock band Men at Work has slammed the use of his hit song Down Under at anti-immigration rallies. Colin Hay called out the, quote, unauthorised, unlicensed use of the song, saying it does not belong to those who attempt to sow xenophobia in Australia. He stressed the anthem was for inclusion and unity, not division, urging people to, quote, go write your own song, leave mine alone. Now it's time to get into our deep dive on Prince Harry's High Court lawsuit against a major UK publisher. Joining us is Professor Andrew Dodd, Director of the Centre for Advancing Journalism at the University of Melbourne. Andrew explains why he believes Prince Harry's latest stand against the media is a brave one, but won't necessarily change the way some stories are sourced nor reported. Andrew, thanks so much for joining us. A very emotional Prince Harry giving evidence in a court in the UK today. Tell us what this latest development is with Harry's ongoing war against the media.
Yeah, so this is the 3rd large civil trial that Harry's involved in. He's already taken on the Mirror Group and won, and he took on News Corporation and won that case because they settled on the steps of the court just as the trial was about to begin. And this is the 3rd and last tabloid group, the publishers of the Daily Mail Associated Press. So they're now being challenged because of the same claim. Harry believes that they've been hacking his phone and they've been blagging and getting information illegally that has allowed them to publish stories that he didn't want published.
Now, in regards to exactly what he is alleging, Andrew, Prince Harry is alleging, and I'm quoting here, that the publisher, which is ANL, which, as you mentioned, publishes the Daily Mail and Mail on Sunday and Mail Online, unlawfully gathered private information by hiring private investigators to hack phones, bug cars, and also access confidential records to generate stories. Now, it's important to note that the publisher denies all of these allegations. In regards to exactly what he is alleging, this is they unlawfully, allegedly, found information to then publish stories about Prince Harry, correct?
Yeah, that's the claim, and they're going to find it very difficult to establish this. And I had the privilege of sitting in the court the last time Harry was testifying back with the Mirror Group in 2023. And each case, each article is treated on its merits. And so they go through what the sources of information were for each story. And watching Harry giving evidence in that case, it became very clear that it's really difficult to establish whether a piece of information that drove a newspaper story came from the legal source or from a tip-off or from a friend or from wherever. So in each case, they'll be fighting over exactly how the paper got the information that led to the story being published.
There were always allegations, Andrew, that someone within his inner circle was leaking. And there were also allegations people within Buckingham Palace, within the palace and different groups were leaking stories. What are your thoughts on that? How do you prove whether it was actually hacking someone's phone or whether someone literally was giving away private information to the media?
Yeah, it's really difficult. And in some cases there have been leaks, but this has also been overblown. And in fact, Harry talked in the last trials about the paranoia that builds when you start to believe that your friends are tipping off the media. But often it wasn't the case with his friends tipping off the media. He was falsely accusing people of doing that. When he realised that his phone was being tapped, he actually went round to people and apologised to them because he thought that they had been tipping off the media when they weren't. And so, you know, it's extremely difficult to prove it. So what the claimants are doing in this case is they're looking at the trail of money, who was paid by the newspapers, and they've found this out through a process of discovery to see which of the investigators they were using and whether those investigators had a history of tapping and blagging and illegally gaining information. And then it'll be up to the judge. If there's no jury, it'll be up to the judge to determine that on its merits with each case.
There's always a famous saying, Andrew, always follow the money. What if there were allegedly cash payments? You can't follow the money.
Well, yes, sometimes those cash payments were under the counter, but the remarkable thing about some of these cases is that through the discovery process, they've worked out that the network of investigators actually worked across the tabloid newspapers. So people who were hacking phones for News of the World were hacking phones for the Mirror Group as well. And these people have a track record of this. So a remarkable amount of it is actually visible when you've got hold of the documents. The trouble is that in the case of News Corp, they deleted some 30 million emails, which made it incredibly difficult to follow the money. But nevertheless, the claimants in this case who've done a lot of work on this think that they have compelling evidence that's going to lead them to identify where these leaks came from.
We have to be very careful because, as we know, this specific case is still before the courts. You mentioned earlier 2 major wins for Prince Harry previously. Do you think this will change the way that media actually get stories?
Well, you know, there was an argument to say that the Leveson inquiry in the wake of the phone hacking scandal was going to change things and it led to a new regulatory process. But there's much more cynicism now in Britain amongst people about the media and the way the tabloids behave. And there's a feeling that because the second stage of the Leveson inquiry, which was all about trying to find the connections between the police and the parliaments and between the press, didn't happen. And it didn't happen for all sorts of political reasons. And so there is a sense that the work of the Leveson inquiry has been left only half finished. And so I think that it's right to say there is some cynicism in Britain about it.
And we know for Prince Harry this is incredibly personal because we know everything that happened to his late mother, Princess Diana. We know about the horrific fatal car accident in Paris. It is very personal for him. Even in court, when he was giving evidence, he was incredibly emotional. And I'm quoting Prince Harry here. He referred to his wife of 8 years, Meghan Markle. They continue to come after me, Harry referring to the media. They have made my wife's life an absolute misery.
Yeah, and, you know, you can absolutely understand it from his perspective that he saw his mother go through it and now he's seeing the mother of his children go through something similar. And I think prima facie, the case that Meghan Markle presents about the way she's been treated by the media is very strong. And, in my book, Prince Harry is actually doing a public service by doing this. I think he's actually taken quite a lateral view of that idea of royal family service, and he's decided that he's going to be the champion of people, the hundreds of people who've been the victims of phone hacking, and he's pursuing it in ways that others haven't been able to. And for that, he's won a lot of credit, a lot of plaudits from people in Britain, although you don't see a lot of that really demonstrated in the press coverage of it, of course.
As we know, especially with recent revelations even this week, there's always agenda on more than one occasion when you do see leaks. To what degree will these leaks continue against Prince Harry and Meghan, because there are so many agendas?
Yeah, and some of those agendas are deep-rooted, and some of them are about vendettas now and enmity, and there are people in the press who are sworn rivals of the Sussexes. And wherever there's money at play and people can be tipped off and private investigators are working, they're going to be vulnerable to this kind of storytelling. But what they've done is they've decided to fight rather than just let it wash over them and let it happen to them. And you would have to think that's going to at least reduce some of this kind of vexatious reporting that's been going on.
I was even reading an article today, Andrew, where there was a quote from Prince Harry saying he grew up in the royal family where they had this agreement. We know there was an agreement with his brother, Prince William and Catherine, with the media, and after Diana, and there was this friendly agreement. So this is him really, Prince Harry, saying there was almost this mantra from the royal family, don't explain, never complain. And this is Harry taking a real stand against the media.
Yeah, he is. He's taken the fight on, and in many ways he was the only one who could do it. So many others, including Hugh Grant and others, who've been bullied by the media, decided at the very point where they were going to go to trial that they couldn't do it because of this system within Britain where if you're offered a settlement before the trial and you refuse it, and the payment that you end up receiving, even if you win, is less than what you were offered before the trial, then you end up paying the legal fees for both parties. And it's a way of stopping people getting to court. It's also about making the courts more efficient, but it means that nobody has taken on the phone hackers quite like Prince Harry has. And for that reason, I think what he's doing is admirable.
Yeah, extraordinary. We really appreciate your time. Thank you so much, Andrew.
Thank you.
That was Professor Andrew Dodd, Director of the Centre for Advancing Journalism at the University of Melbourne. And that's it for this episode of the afternoon edition of The Briefing. We'll be back in your feed tomorrow morning with a deep dive on family estrangement in the wake of Brooklyn Beckham's explosive statement against his parents. And we'd love you to subscribe or follow us on Instagram at The Briefing Podcast. I'm Natarsha Belling. Thanks for your company.